I will do this for
That
you.
will work. Perfect.
So, good evening, everybody. Hopefully, if you need rain, you're getting rain. And hopefully, where those storms are, everybody's being safe and in a safe area. What'd you say, Oklahoma? And then we're getting pounded with some pretty bad stuff. So,
Oklahoma and headed into
Arkansas. Yeah.
with tornadoes.
So, South is going to get some pretty severe weather, it sounds like. So, just a little bit of rain here. And we weren't supposed to get much, about a half an inch. So, nothing to make everything muddy. Evening, Gypsy. So what else you got? What do you got today? How was your New Year's day? How did you start it out?
I don't remember. That was only yesterday. It's been a great year.
Was a great year?
It is a great year.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great year. Yeah.
Evening, Indiana, Mike.
So, no, as far as the rain goes, though, past couple days has been a little warmer here, 40s, 50s. So the cold that got into the ground last week with negative, has it been 2 weeks?
Yeah. It's been 2 weeks.
Okay. 2 weeks ago, the cold that got into the ground, the frost, thawed out over the past couple days and has started to make things a little slippery out in the pastures.
There's still frost out there. The rock had frost in it still, so I'm still busting that up.
Oh,
But-
okay. Well, the top layer of things have started to slick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So after this, we were supposed to get almost an inch of rain
Yep.
with this that's coming in. Then they dropped it down to 8/10.
Yeah, they go down to 6/10 or something. So
Now we're down to 6/10, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I'll get up the hill with the truck tomorrow morning and
you'll be fine.
feed cows.
You'll be fine.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. But
So did we do anything over New Year's Eve? I can't remember.
we really didn't.
We were here.
I mean, we were here and we played a game. We got a card game.
Right. That's right. We did buy a game.
Doomslings.
I believe that's right. Doomslings. A little different game. So
Yeah.
Good family game.
That's a good little card game. It has little characters on it. And it's a
Witty sayings and kind of stuff like that.
pretty strategic, though. I mean, you had to. Ella brought me it.
Of course, it's backwards. But
Oh, yeah. Well, you get the drift. But
yeah, Hypocrite's Garden. We were just talking about the storms rolling down there. Hopefully, everything's good down in your area. So, my sister lives down in Arkansas, so northwest Arkansas. So I'm sure she's getting pummeled with storms, and they've got their own storm shelter and all that good stuff. So that should be fine.
yeah, when I looked at the radar, it was still in Oklahoma. So.
Okay.
But I'd seen a couple of lives that were out there for Arkansas storm chasing. So
You talking about Ryan? I don't know if you guys
it was
are
a different one.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Ryan Hall. He's on YouTube, but he does
He's a good weather guy.
He's a good weather guy. He explains it very well, and I don't know. I kind of enjoy listening to him every now and then. So.
And he's pretty accurate.
Seems to be accurate. Little
Long term too.
animated, but accurate.
Well, yeah. I mean, he is entertaining, so that kind of helps with the weather. If he's wrong, then you're not so mad at him.
Yeah.
But yeah. No.
What were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about New Year's.
New Year's.
No, we just played a game and we barely made it to.
Oh, we made it to midnight, but David went off and shot fireworks outside. He wanted to shoot fireworks, so we let him shoot some fireworks at midnight, like 5 after midnight. But by the time he got it done, but
yeah, that's okay. So, yeah,
it was
good.
But yeah, no. Otherwise, we just
Lowe's closed at 6:00 on New Year's Eve,
which is good.
That was good for them, but not what we expected.
No, we had to hurry.
We were thinking they closed at the same time, and 5 o'clock rolls around. We're choring up, and
I don't know, but you got it cranking in here tonight. We're sitting. The wood stove's right next to us, and she started firing. I bet you it's 80 degrees in this house right now.
oh, not yet. It's not in the red.
But
75 maybe so far.
okay, I'm hot. Good evening, Grumpy Acres. Randy says the temp got down to 19 last week, stayed freezing 4 nights in a row. Today was 70 degrees. Lots of plants, yeah, lots of plants didn't make it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Did you cover any of them?
I'm-
Or
I'm not
Randy,
sure where
did you?
Randy's out of either.
Randy, where are you out of?
So
Phone's going off. Anyways,
we didn't have much trouble. From the freezing temps, the lettuce made it actually looks really nice in the high tunnel. So
it does.
it needs to be fertilized, but it looks really good. So the weather didn't touch it, but so
Well,
zone 8B. Oh yeah.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not normal. I mean, at least
No, not down there.
our plants are a little used to.
Well, ours use it. We hit negatives every year. I mean, that's just
Yeah. Was it?
the wind was brutal, but that's not normal necessarily to hit negative 40 or for 2 days. But
Was
it's okay.
it
Yeah,
last?
Randy's down in Florida.
Okay. Was it last year that the lilac bush started blooming in the middle of winter?
It was
because
December. It was Christmas.
yeah, because it got low.
Yep.
And then it
got in the
was like
70s.
70s,
Yeah.
and
Over
everything
Christmas.
started blooming.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Absolutely
Chipley,
crazy.
Florida. Randy's in Chipley, Florida.
I'll have to look that up and see where it's at. That's cool. But
Well, speaking of plants, you
Yes.
got your new germ chamber.
we did get the germ chamber. That was a long time coming. That was something that's been on our list for
Yeah.
quite a
For
few years.
2 years or so.
Yeah. And finally got it done. It was something that we wanted to do last year, and it didn't happen, but we reacquired, I guess, because we had gotten a cooler back, a refrigerator back, that happened to have a bad seal on it, and then happened to get the glass broke out of it when it was delivered on accident, and made a good excuse to turn it into a germ chamber, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was
I mean,
just
I
reading
think there's-
Gypsy's. Their 2,500 gallon Ren tanks froze. So
Oh no!
I imagine the plastics, even up here. I know that a few YouTube channels got those tanks, and that's been one thing I've had kind of question over because we were getting ready to buy some. Is how does it work when they freeze? Because they don't drain them. So I'm not sure how that works because lots of times things would bust, but I'm guessing that plastic is good enough, heavy enough, and flexible enough it doesn't bust. So
Well, the water in the middle should not have froze, but I guess maybe the water lines.
I
So
don't
if
know.
you're,
I'd be more worried about fittings.
yeah,
That's why I've been talking about putting ours under
undercover,
cover and
or at
have it
least if it's out of the air,
out of the wind.
yeah,
Yeah, and then I can at least if it have the heat off of here, I can put a little fan from the wood stove right there and into there. So
just open up the window.
Randy's halfway between Tallahassee and Pensacola, so he's up in the
Ah.
Panhandle.
Okay, we know that area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Love. Used to go to Pensacola every now and then.
Yeah, almost once a year for
A couple years.
for a couple years. Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with the germ chamber on how it came about and how it's working. I mean, we've got microgreens in there right now. She's already pulled out 17 trays of lettuce, something like that.
Something like that.
And
Yeah, maybe even
almost
20.
almost the same amount of spinach.
Yes.
So those will go out and
they're up.
Yeah, they're up. We turned the heater on in the greenhouse, which it hasn't hardly ran at all, but so
I
that's
need
all
to get
good.
a thermometer for the greenhouse.
So you can see it on your camera. So
I looked at Orscheln's today, and I kind of perused through their garden stuff, to see if they had a thermometer, and they didn't.
yes, it's
And I
January and we're already
thought
gardening.
about asking one of the clerks if they could tell me where the outside thermometers were, but then I thought they might look at me a little funny,
They definitely
going,
probably would.
um,
Yeah, it's January.
it's not, yeah. But
So,
so I'm gonna have to order it, I guess. So, and what I'd seen, they didn't really have what I
yeah.
wanted. So
Anyways,
they had big rain gauges. But anyways,
I interrupted you for the germ chamber.
you did well on the germ chamber. So there's a few things that, not a few things, but so far the humidity control on it,
Oh, yeah, that's
we're
already
still playing with that.
well. It's already done. I think. I'm not sure. There's a whole circuit, but I've tried to reset it and it pops back open. So that's probably a warranty thing. So that's what you get
Oh,
for. But luckily, I have a second one.
I was gonna say we got the
So
other one,
when
but
Maribeth wants to know if she can order lettuce, place an lettuce order, probably in about a week. I bet you.
I bet so.
So
There's some of them out there that are
yeah,
good size.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Germ chamber's been pretty darn good. I'm curious about the microgreens.
Yeah. Well, I did a trial. So because you don't know this yet, I had Ella and Lisa's mom actually helping me because she's wanting to do some microgreens. So we have in previous years, 2020 and beyond, we used organic Pro Mix, and we were pretty happy with organic Pro Mix, and we had no plans of necessarily changing. I'd always kind of wanted some maybe a little bit better or tried some different stuff. Well, in 2020, we got our opportunity because we couldn't get organic Pro Mix. We could only get just Pro Mix, and we grow organically. So we started our search. Luckily enough, we're early enough to this kind of stuff that we're pre-planning, and we've already. Well, we'll talk about that later about our year out planning. But anyways, we ordered from Morgan Composting. From Morgan Compost is what it's called. Dairy Dew is one of their big products. We had to order seed starter from them.
Yeah.
So we bought 4 tons, I believe.
Two totes. Oh, three, because they're a ton and a half.
Are they a ton and a half?
Totes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we bought 3 tons of
A soil.
starter
Yeah.
from Morgan Compost, which is all the way up in, I'm going to screw it up. It's either Michigan or Wisconsin. I can't
One of
remember.
the two.
But anyways, I'm pretty sure it's in Michigan. So we had it shipped down here. We were really, really happy. And I'm still really happy on how it worked with tomatoes and peppers and our P50 trays, our bigger trays. Yeah, hypocrites. Yeah, by the ton totes. Yep, ton and a half totes. They're 6 foot tall,
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6 foot tall on the pallet. So yeah, that's how we had been doing it. And the price difference for that wasn't really all that more.
No.
So we knew that we'd run through most of that last year, and it just so happened that that didn't quite happen. So we have some of that left, and we have the availability of organic Pro Mix again.
Yeah.
So we were trying microgreens again. Well, we were starting our microgreens last year, and we had a really bad problem of mold, and it just boom.
Well, it was like everything that we changed, it didn't change it.
But everything else, it didn't mold on anything except for microgreens.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of just gave up on it, didn't go any further than that, and microgreens kind of fell to the wayside. Not a big deal, but we never had that problem with organic Pro Mix. So, long story short, last night we did. I seeded down radish, sunflower, dill, and a salad mix. The radish and the sunflowers, if they're gonna mold, if something's gonna mold, those two will mold because they're so thick. So I actually did a side by side trial and did one with Morgan Compost and one with Organic Pro Mix. So those two actually have double. So we'll see if it's something we were doing or if it's something that just the soil. So
That would be great if it was the soil, because it was driving me crazy.
Well, it'd be great, but it wouldn't be great. I mean, the only thing
Well,
we can do is lessen it, but the problem is recouping your costs if you lessen your yield, your seeding possibly. So,
yeah, but the mold issue was
well, it was
what was
made it
driving me
trash.
crazy.
So,
Yeah, it made it trash. But I mean, it's not like our other soil's bad. We just need to. We'll use it for our regular seeding stuff, and
yeah,
not. Yeah.
yeah,
But the other thing that you did with it that I did see you do is you were using the. Um,
yeah. We've never done that either.
oh my
Normally,
gosh, what's it called?
well, our
Gravity seeder.
our gravity or drop seeder,
Drop seeder.
drop
Yeah.
seeders. So yeah, but normally we just weigh it out and shake it out. So every one of ours, we keep it a notebook on how much we put in each tray of whatever seed, whether it be radish, sunflowers. They're all different. Then done by the gram.
Yeah.
And so what I was doing last night was trialing, and our drop seeders actually just go into the 5, and I'd weigh it out still, put it in the drop seeder, and then put it out. I love the distribution, very
Yeah.
even, very nice looking. So we'll see how that comes up, but I don't know.
So how many days do we keep it in the germ chamber before we
Depends on what
pull
they
it
are.
out?
Depends on which ones they are.
Well, yeah, but
Sunflowers are like 3 to 5 days. Radish is like 2 to 4 days, 3 to 4 days. So,
but I'm assuming that they're going to sprout faster than what they did. Of course, I guess on micros it doesn't matter. You want them smushed.
yeah, dark. So,
Whenever they come up, so you could get more shoot on them instead of more leaf.
well, yeah, more height.
Yeah.
Make them leggy.
Make them leggy. Yeah, microgreens are kind of they're a fun thing to try and play around with, and like you said, it because you want them leggy. You know, they're almost a different way of growing,
Mhm.
like your normal vegetable plant. Because your vegetable plants, like even just say a tomato, you know, an easy thing. A tomato, you don't want it to be leggy and sprouty whenever it first sprouts up. I mean, you don't want a leggy plant.
No, no.
You want it it um, once it sprouts, you want it to have sunlight so that it starts bushing.
Yeah.
Instead of growing up towards the light. Where on micros, you want them to push and get leggier
To an extent. I mean,
to an extent.
that's so you
yes.
can cut them and you're not
Right.
getting soil and stuff.
Right.
Essentially.
So they're a little different, but they're fun to grow. Nobody's ever grown them before. You can do them on your countertop pretty darn easy, in just like a little Tupperware container, you know, a little leftover container.
So Indiana Mike had said, well, I was going to talk to hypocrites, you know, when he was asking about the 10 totes. I mean, that's the thing is when we're doing stuff, I'm getting ready to do seed onions at the end of this month, and we're doing 12,000 onion plants, which is not a whole lot for us. I mean, that's only 4 beds, but that is like our lettuce. How many
it's
trays?
400
It's
bed feet.
It is 400 bed feet. You're right.
Yeah.
But like lettuce, you're doing 4 trays of P200s
Yeah.
per bed.
That's 800 plants.
And we're doing 6. So that's 16, roughly 16 trays every week that we're doing of lettuce. That we start 16 trays. Spinach is the exact same way for March, April, May, and we may push into June depending, but generally May we stop.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stop for spinach until fall. But I mean, yeah, it's just a weekly. I mean, we're putting that germ chamber will be full with 30 to 60 flats, not counting microgreens, at any given time. I mean, it'll be full. So that's why the next subject she was going to probably talk about is the greenhouse, and we have tripled the size of the greenhouse. So I'm working on doing that now. So I just got rock put in it, concrete forms put up. So we're in a 20 by 20. We've been in a 20 by 20 for 5 years. Well, this will be our 5th year.
Yes.
And by February, because tomatoes start in 10 days, by February we're out of room.
Yes, because we up pot all those tomatoes.
Yeah, the tomatoes, but that doesn't include the microgreens. So we have to wait for microgreens, generally speaking, until spring because we just don't have the room
Right.
for the microgreens.
Yeah, because we
So,
lay all the trays
yeah.
out. Yeah.
But anyhow, Mike had said the Amish were selling super sacks of organic compost for $270 a couple of years ago. Last year they went for $320-ish. I'd be interested what the organic compost, where it was coming from. I get really leery on compost. Not all compost is the same. This one is, if it comes with a guaranteed analysis, that's one thing. But you really have to be careful where you're getting compost, what's in your compost. Even if we buy compost, we will generally, and that's, we've got boxes sitting behind us here that are getting ready to go out to Logan Labs tomorrow. And included in that is our compost. So we're soil testing right now, our tunnels and things like that. But that's why one thing I look for is guaranteed with soil analysis on compost a lot. So, and then Randy asked if those microgreens are for our own use or do you have a market outlet for them? And we have both.
Both.
So
Yeah.
we like microgreens. We use quite a few of them, but we're generally, when we start the microgreens, like right now is when we're starting them. I mean, we'll start doing 16 trays to 30 trays a week sometimes.
You can make a whole salad out of just microgreens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, you wouldn't need lettuce at all. If you had sunflowers and peas and a little bit of radish, and
I like the amaranth.
The amaranth is really
which
good.
we do a salad mix with amaranth in it. So,
but yeah, I mean, even we put them on tacos, on eggs, on
just salad.
eat them with not even any dressing or anything like that. And the crazy thing is, if you never had them before, they really kind of, well, the peas taste like peas. Everybody asks you, what do they taste like? If they've never had them before, they'll walk up to the stand or at the farmer's market and what the heck is that? What does that taste like? And well, the radishes taste like radishes. They're
for the most part, all of them do the same. They taste like
the only one that doesn't though is the sunflowers. They're real nutty.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Of course, what do you think a sunflower would taste like? Unless you eat sunflowers,
the kernels.
Well, I guess the seeds. Yeah, you're right.
But,
yeah. So.
Okay. Germ chamber. Anything else in the germ chamber? We didn't get very far into it, but.
No, I don't think so. There's just going to be maybe a little bit of a learning curve on it. Oh, I did dump my first tray as I was putting it in there. That was kind of aggravating. So that was one thing I think that we probably could change, but not a need to. I think it works perfectly fine how it is. But the bars on it, since they're...
You want me to put a third bar in it?
I don't know that I do.
Well, that's what I would, if I was going to change anything, that's what I would do. Because
yeah. I put a set of trays in there, and then when I went to go put my next set of trays in there, I bumped the first set of trays and dumped it all the way down to the ground because it pushed it past the first one, and it didn't have any other place to go. So
if it happens again, I might just put a third tray.
Well, I learned once, so I just need to
Yeah, but you're not the only one that's going to do it. So
true. Yeah. But I just got lucky. There was nothing else below it.
Well, then it would.
It just went up. Well, yeah, but then your other tray would have been messed up too because the seating would have been bad. But no, I think I've got another crock pot I need to put into it.
Well, maybe the temperature's holding really good in it. I've been really happy because we keep it at 70.
The humidity though has been through the roof.
Okay, so that's why you don't want to put another crock pot in there because that would just raise the humidity.
No, I put oil on this one.
Yeah, but the humidity's still been high. Now, I say that, and we don't have a humidistat now because that one's, for whatever reason, decided to quit. But
I thought putting the oil on top of the water kills the humidity.
It should stop the humidity, but when you're watering it, that's what's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
How
when
much,
you first put them in there.
Yeah. So far, I haven't seen it below 90.
No, like the humidity stays crazy in there, and it stays right at 71.
But when we took those trays out for the first time, I mean, not necessarily for the first time, but those trays, the lettuce and spinach, they were still nice and wet.
Yeah.
So I really liked that because it literally took them 2 days and they were up. So
So,
that was really nice.
yeah.
Consistency, and that's what you get with that germ chamber is consistency.
That is really hard to do without it. So that is definitely going to be awesome this
Yeah.
year. Because that flows all the way into planning of your crop of when things need to go in the ground and keeping your successions on time and having healthy plants going out the door and all that kind of stuff. So, but your greenhouse is coming along pretty good.
It is. It is. Need to order more rock. There's no more rock pile back there. So the rock pile that we've had for a year now.
It's gone.
That was supposed to be on the driveway.
Well, I'm sure everybody has a rock pile around.
So, but yeah, no, it's going well. I made some last minute changes, and the concrete forms are up and ready to go. So she was like, but she listened to what I said.
I'm gonna eat my words.
But
I will trust.
so no, but I figured rather than because we're putting rock in it, I'm wanting to put minus in this greenhouse. So I'm putting a road rock in there in the base, and of course we've got a really big heavy skid loader, so it does the really good job of compaction. I get the minus in. I want to compact it, and I'm going to do this because I don't know that this will be our last greenhouse. Now this one probably will last us 5 years or so, but plans are that we're going to grow big enough that a 60 by 20 is not going to be big enough for us. So I hate to put concrete in it now. I can always put concrete in it later. That would be a pain. But if not, and it may be one of those things that if this is, we may just have to put a different greenhouse next to this one because we do have room for that, and concrete that floor and make this a big shade house and make it a hardening off house.
Well, I guess you could do that. I was thinking we just need to make it more efficient inside, moving tables and all that kind of stuff. Because
well, that's possible, and we can possible that I can make it. I mean, what I'd move up to next would be a 30 by 96.
That's what
a
I
high
was
tunnel.
thinking. What would be the next size? And that would be.
But I'm putting all the amenities on this thing that I would put on that thing, except for a concrete floor. But anyways, rather than putting the germ chamber, because the germ chamber will go into the greenhouse, so the only electricity that's going to be, well, there's a lot of electricity that's going to go in that thing, I guess, fans and stuff. But I am also going to put a deep freeze in there for our seeds, and then you'll have all your seeding and seeds will be out there in the freeze. The germ chamber will be there, but rather than putting those on blocks on the rock, that I'm afraid just going to sit there and settle and settle and settle and settle. I decided I'm just going to go ahead and pour concrete, which is not much concrete, not much work. So, but that'll be nice because I have to actually put the germ chamber in the greenhouse before I can put the
end wall up.
And so the end wall is going to be the last thing that goes on because plastic needs to go on, and I need to be able to put the end wall up at the same day so we can keep the germ chamber because it's not insulated on the doors. So it's going to be a fun back-to-back thing. So,
Well, we'll just have to plan it. Build the frame and then put her in there.
Yeah. So, Indiana Mike had just said he did learn how much this tractor could lift. The back wheels started coming up.
Oh,
that's when you get your buddies and stand on the back of the tractor.
Don't do that.
Yeah, no longer trust super sack handles. So.
Yes. You know, we learned, well, I don't know, we've always used super sacks like multiple times, like a lot of times.
Yeah, we have.
A lot of time use. And the cover crop seed guy said that they dispose of them after one use.
Yeah, they're
only supposed to be a one-use bag.
Thing. And we use them for like our hog feeders, and we'll just have feed in that, auger it into the feed sack, and I have actually a holder that I can lift it up like 8 foot in the air to get it over that. But boy, I'll tell you what, you don't want to put a ton tote up above an 8 foot in the air, that sucker. That
No,
that's
no.
shaky.
You've got to have a pretty good sized tractor or skid loader to raise up a sack quite a ways up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, we have had straps that have broke on us as we're
Oh yes. Oh yes.
ripping as we're putting feed into something or whatnot. But
Scoop shovel and back in the bag.
yeah, that's no fun. Yep.
But yeah, the greenhouse is coming along. So got all the boards on, sideboards. So then I also have to wait for the hoops till I get the rock in. So that's another thing. We've got to order rock tomorrow. Add that to a list.
Okay.
So
If I don't write it down, it's not going to happen.
Maribeth wants to place an order for microgreens.
Okay. Let me know what you want.
Sweet potatoes.
I don't know that those will be ready before Sunday.
No. No, they will not be.
I can bring you some sweet potatoes, though.
Right after Ellie gets done with them.
Yep, right after Ella gets done with them. But he was talking about soil tests. Ella's been doing soil tests. We've done 3 gardens.
No,
We definitely did the compost.
Done the compost and then both high tunnels, the cat tunnel, and 2 other gardens thus far.
So are we going to do any more?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
are you stopping there for now?
No, we'll do it more because I've got 2 pastures that I want to send in as well. So we'll send another round of them in, but it takes 3 to 5 business days for them to get us back. So it's not a big deal for the pastures. So
Now, did you figure out what tests we're actually going to
Yeah.
get?
the standard plus,
Oh,
which is just it shows us the micronutrients, the molly and that stuff. But so I think it's that one's $30 a test. So the standard test from Logan is like 25, but
okay.
so she says absolutely not. No sweet potatoes.
No sweet potatoes.
No sweet potatoes.
Ella's with you on it.
But
So what about?
Yeah, no sweet potatoes in Bee's house. That's a rule. Along with black licorice. No black licorice.
you have to come on camera if you're going to talk.
No. Because now I'm watching.
So when you guys pulled the soil samples, because I didn't see them, was the consistency of the soil basically the same over all of the gardens?
I don't know that I paid that much attention to. And it's really hard to tell at this time of year because obviously the tunnels are drier. The cat tunnel is drier, but moist because it still has covers on it. Very much compacted in the cat tunnel. I hadn't been in the cat tunnel since the cows got in there, but I'll have my work cut out for me on the broad fork on that one. 100-foot beds, 4-foot, 4 100-foot beds, and the cattle.
Yeah, good.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Organic matter.
Yeah, sure. So, but no,
That'll be fine.
the outside gardens, the ones that have been tarped, she was able to put those right into baggies and everything, and mix those up really nice. So,
Oh, sweet.
moisture's actually pretty good in those. But the other gardens are just a little wet, but not bad. I mean, not clumpy wet.
Well, those ones that we had tarped, they were like 3-foot vegetation.
Yeah.
Whenever we tarped them, I mean, it was like a big balloon over the top of the garden.
And now they're all ripped. I did a video on that. I haven't put that out yet, but yeah, every one of the tarps. Now, given most of those tarps are 2 years old, which we found out were only yearly use. So
Only yearly use too. But
makes it a little bit more expensive, but hey, if I can put them on for 2 years and they rip in the middle of the winter, I guess that's fine because they're not doing anything in the middle of the winter except for keeping the rain off. But
yes, and they did their job of killing out the vegetation and giving us some organic material. Yeah. Hypocrite says one thing that those who don't know should keep in mind when sending soil tests in: if it has a whole lot of organic material, Logan and some will take it, some universities won't. So the one thing that we learned about Logan is that they have a soil consultationist
Well, they all do. I mean, everybody.
but on hand that will
He's
consult about composting ish gardens. So if you are
but we don't know that for sure.
no, we don't. That's what we've heard.
He's a. I'm going to pull it up here because I can't remember. He has actually written a book. I was ordering the book. Go ahead. The art of balancing soil nutrients, and that is their. I'm pretty sure he's an agronomist on staff that will actually consult. They do charge for that reading of your soil test on that. I mean, so, but we're getting to the point where I can balance soils and I can do that stuff. I've got a program where I can kind of do some of that stuff, but I'm also not a expert.
Not an agronomist.
Well, I'm not an expert. I'm just not an expert. I'm not a soil scientist, not a soil expert. So those are some of the things that we are looking into very heavily, is looking into getting a soil consultant that can just
more fine tune.
Fine tune's a good word for it. Good word for it. Yeah.
But yeah, the universities, they go about it the commercial way of gardening.
I call it big ag type. Yeah. I mean, they're using put
Miracle-Gro on it and let's do it.
Yeah. Well, they're using very caustic chemicals. They're using things that aren't found in nature, so they're not necessarily the readings that they're getting aren't necessarily, they don't mimic nature. So, and a lot of these other labs, like the Haney test, and we've done Ward Laboratories and several of them, but they use more of like on some of the things that they use acids on. The more natural is the citric acid, whereas they're using, I don't even know what it is, what kind of acid they're using in some of these labs, but it's pretty caustic stuff. So I tend to go to more of the more natural thing. It says University of Arkansas won't accept high organic material samples. They claim it will damage their instruments, and he finds that interesting as they are the main lab for all the conventional farms, meaning none of them have high organic soils, and that's exactly right. The most average, probably, I would say, average conventional farm, you're probably looking at 1% organic matter. 2% to 3% is really high in a conventional ag. Really high.
7's perfect, isn't it? Well, 7 is
no. There's no such thing as necessarily perfect organic. I mean,
but I mean on the high scale of things, pH. I know that 7 is neutral, but organic matter. I mean, we're shooting for. We had a field that was, or was it the high tunnel that was 5? We had a spot that was 5% organic.
We've got, well, I can't remember what the high tunnel was, but that had some compost added to it and stuff like that. So that's kind of a cheat. We've taken some of our conventional ag fields that were in conventional ag, that were down to a 0.5%.
Yeah.
We've taken them to a 3 on a lot of our fields. So soil building is, I mean, that's our method of gardening is we concentrate on the soil. The soil health is going to determine what your plants are going to end up being. Whether they taste good or whether they are nutrient dense and all this other stuff, all depends on the soil. So that is our main objective in everything we do, is soil health on a lot of stuff. Now, we trade some of that soil health off because of the size that we're doing some stuff for the markets with tillage. But when I say tillage, we're also controlled depth tillaging. So tillaging, I don't know if that's necessarily a word, but I'm going to make it a word tonight. Tillaging, because we're only going down 2 inches when we till a lot of times. And that's generally just to do an amendment soil. So we tend to go inside the tunnels. We're using the tilther, and it's not going much much over an inch,
Yeah, I mean it's
except
yeah.
for the beds that are really, really high in compost.
Yeah, then it'll go because there's
Then it'll go
really
like
no
2 inches
yeah.
because they just sink. So, which is another balancing thing. I mean, too much compost in the bed, in my opinion, can be bad as well.
I would agree.
But it takes a lot of moisture, and that's the problem I think with a lot of compost. So I'm I'm not against compost, but I like composting in place. I'm letting the worms and do stuff. We use things like feather meal and stuff like
Mhm.
that. We make compost, and so we will add that, but it's not. um, We could not make enough compost to put
Oh
an
no.
inch of compost on all of our beds. So
No.
we're very strategically placing every year, and all of our compost comes, generally speaking, from our broiler chickens, and then the veg and all that other stuff that comes out. So,
Yeah, wasted hay and
and we let it sit for a year. I mean,
yeah.
we take it out. Last year's is going to go out now, and it'll be composted all year long, and we won't use it till wintertime next year. So
Well, I think we even have a little bit left over from 2 years ago,
we do,
like a
just
couple
just because we were
buckets.
lazy and we didn't do anything with it. I didn't
That's
get to it.
true.
I don't know that it was lazy. It was I just didn't get to it. So,
That's true.
but I think you can choose the testing method at Logan Wright. I sent some samples to them, and the university just to see the difference reporting. I believe that's correct. I haven't used Logan Labs before, so kind of a new thing. One of the guys that we've been quote unquote getting consulting by uses Logan Labs. So is that how I'd say that?
I'm laughing at your mom.
You're freezing up. Oh, I'm freezing up. No,
Oh
the
no,
internet's
our
freezing.
internet's freezing up. I gotcha, Mr. Musk. I thought she was talking
We're
about
on
your gray
Starlink,
hair.
so maybe that's why we keep adding and dropping and adding and dropping. So
Oh,
hmm. I will have
okay.
to. I can go check that. Let me. Can you? Do you have some stuff to talk about? I will go.
Without you?
Yeah, without me.
I don't know.
I will look that up real quick.
You
If we're,
should be able
I know,
to see that. But as
but
far as the tests go, I mean, we haven't used Logan, but we've used well, like you said, we're trying Logan because one of the guys that we are consulting with uses Logan Labs and is really happy with them and what they um, provide. We have used many others in the past. I would say many others, like 3 or 4. We tend to stay away from the universities and let's see, Midwest Bio Labs, I think was one of them,
yeah,
and um, P PAG. What was the one we just?
yeah. It says we're connection is unstable. Interesting.
Okay.
Midwest Laboratories and then Ward is the two of used,
Ward.
and I haven't been unhappy with them,
Mm-mm.
but I've not been like I said. We've just
Well, some of
switched
it has
because
to do with the way that they give you the information back.
correct and
It's not necessarily their labs are wrong or bad. It's how you can read what they give you.
yeah, and we haven't gone to the extent. I've been learning more and more as we go on the whole thing. So it's been easier for me to start to read this stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you get to the nitty gritty details of soil and soil balancing, and it's not just it's not just what you need to add, because your composition of your soil really has a lot to do with it too. So that I mean, there's all this. It all works in harmony, and
Yes.
that's the problem. Is
Yeah.
you can't just add necessarily what they're saying because again, if you do it wrong and you add too much sulfur,
Yes.
well,
Then you lock stuff up. Then
yeah.
yeah, that's very true.
So
So we'll share with you guys whenever we get our stuff back and compare it to the lab that we had done last year, um, and and see how we fare out. Now we did do quite a bit of making sure that we did quite a bit of amendments on beds as we were turning them, refertilizing them, and really focused on adding what we got from those labs last time, and making sure that we're trying to balance further, to where we needed to be.
Yeah.
And so that might have a little bit of change on them too. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it's in the better. You know, you I wouldn't think we'd see a drastic change over 1 year, but on um, should be able to see at least a little bit of change.
Well, yes and no. And here's the bad part. And I'm talking while I'm looking something up. But that's why it's really good to stick with the same lab year after year after year, because
It is.
little nuances of how they do things and things like that can make the difference on how a test reads.
Yes.
And that's why, typically speaking, you want to take, typically in the fall, you want to take your test and you want to be consistent on when you take those tests so that everything is the same. But so, did you get a phone call?
I got a phone call. It was my daddy.
So it says The Art of Balancing Soil Nutrients, a practical guide to interpreting soil tests, is written by William Gibbon. And so he's the one that actually he works for Logan Labs. So I didn't want to answer you because I didn't know the answer to that, hypocrite. So the other thing is the Albright tests, and the Albright is something I've really dove into and tried to get more into. But the Albright is all about balancing soils. So that's what I really got into last year, was the Albright methods of testing and looking at stuff like that. So we actually used a new lab last year, and they used the Albright methods. I'll be interested to compare those two. Is what I'll be compared to compare those from, because the same tests are going to be done with this. Now, I haven't dove into the Logan Labs to see if they're using Albright method or not, but they may
No,
be.
we almost need to send some to Peg, and I think it was Peg.
I'm not sure who Peg. Oh, yeah, Peg Lab.
Peg
Yeah.
Lab,
Yeah.
and because that's who we used last year, and see if they
Yeah.
see how it turns out. Do the comparison between like the university and your private one.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
well, hopefully the internet's stabilizing here. I'm not sure. We haven't had any problems before, but
we
How-
don't see it on our end. Of
we
course,
don't, obviously, yeah. Obviously,
we
see
don't
it
have
on-
anything else streaming or
Well, it says
lagging.
we have 11 devices on our Wi-Fi right now. So, of course, you got camera and you got a couple of different things, but
And
I
it's
don't know.
raining outside, so
and that may be it right there.
it might be the rain
So maybe the dish isn't quite
lined up with the satellite.
well. The neat thing about the Starlink, it'll move tilt up and down like this to find signal, but it won't obviously rotate.
It does.
No, it doesn't. I don't think.
I thought it did.
No, but it will melt the snow.
Yes, it does have a heater on it.
So interesting in that. But okay, what else you got up on your list?
Well, we're finishing the crop plan. We're getting that finalized. That you always think that it shouldn't take too much time. You take from last year's plan and you make just a few minor adjustments for this next year, but
Well, and
there's a lot of detail that goes into planning out the year.
we've tried different methods from, I can't remember what that was, that vegetable design,
It was Mother Earth News.
was it their program?
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't about, that's a really nice program for
It is for homeowners. It is.
Tag and Beer here.
Hello.
So we've tried that, and we did that a little bit in the first year.
And it has a lot of information in it.
It does.
If you want to just go plan out, your
The thing I really, really liked about that was companion plants.
yes,
It would actually give you whatever companion plants to intercrop or plant with your tomatoes. So
yeah,
that was really nice. Marigolds and whatever, all kinds
and
of
it was
different stuff.
free. It was a free program, if I,
I believe it
remember
was.
right.
I believe it was.
Yeah.
So we've done that. We've looked at different calendars. We've done spreadsheets. We've done. There are some other programs out there. I think there's, from what I'm being told, there's a new one coming out. But what was it? 3 years ago now? 4 years ago? 3 or 4 years ago, I happened to be just going tag some. I heard he wanted some butternut squash too. I might be able to go down the cellar and find some butternut squash for Tag because it is one of his favorites.
It is.
So
It is. I have some seed I can share with you.
it comes just above the turnips. So
Oh, it's number 1. Oh,
So.
that's funny.
but so about 4 years ago, we had the opportunity. I was searching on the internet for something to organize our seeding for the year because how we do it is I plan for all the way through October, and now I'm planning all the way through December for 2023 and even into January 2024 because what we have in January next year and February next year comes and gets put in the ground, some of them in July of this year. So
it is the rain. The rain just knocked us out.
It's pouring here, so
yep.
If we go down, we'll just keep coming back in. We're not supposed to get much more rain, I don't think. So, but I was able to find a program, and they really hadn't released it yet. So we beta tested it for them, and since then we've just been with it, and we've been able to keep the price that we originally got it for, I think, too. So, and it is called Tend.
TEND.
Yeah. It specializes in organic agriculture, I always call it. And it was Jean Martin Fortier, which he's a Canadian grower, had a hand in it somewhere along the way. So that's probably how I kind of found it.
Yeah.
And we're probably freezing up again now. So rain's letting up. So hopefully we come back fine. But anyways, we use it, and I can plan out, like this morning I just got finished with tomatoes. So I've got every succession of tomatoes that are going in our gardens starting in 10 days all the way through, I think it's November 17th, we will pull the final tomatoes out of the gardens this year. So, or start harvesting. That's the actual harvest date of the last tomatoes.
Well, in those though, I mean, yes.
So
yes, and they're determinants, so
Yeah,
it's going to be a flush of.
Yes, because all of our indeterminates that we do grow, the heirlooms, when July hits, mid-July, we pull out all of our heirloom tomatoes. Everybody else has got tomatoes. It's one of those things that we've got early tomatoes. By that point, we've canned tomatoes. We've done stuff like that, and we'll have our determinants. Now we're going to do 3 different determinants this year. Celebrity's one, Celebrity Plus is what it is. There's a BHN 589, which is made for high tunnel growing, and then Galahad is another one. And now we've tried the Galahad before, but it's been outside. It was a good tasting tomato, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah, and BHN was outside last year too.
Yeah, but that was a different BHN.
Yeah,
but they're probably pretty darn close. It's just different genetic. So we're doing that. So we'll have tomatoes even past that, but we won't have our heirlooms.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's going all the way through that. I mean, I've already got, what was it I was working on successionally for the think it was I can't remember. Carrots are already planned out. Of course, we're only going to do like 3 plantings of carrot, but they're mass plantings. Oh, there was something else. I can't remember what it was, but it's already, I've got 30. Oh, it was green onions, scallions. And,
Not my favorite.
well, but I've switched how we're doing it. So you're going to like that a little better.
That will change. Yeah.
But we're doing 50 foot of scallions at a time. And generally we've paper potted them. We've done different stuff. But we're putting 7 seeds in a group. So when you actually pull a group of scallions, then the group is there.
Yeah,
So
that's your bunch.
That's your bunch already.
Yeah.
And I've mapped it out this year where we're just going to go ahead and do 4x6 planting. So there's 4 rows every 6 inches in row.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be, there's not going to be as much root mass because we were planting them, I think, 2 inches apart.
Yes.
And so the root mass would just get so great that when you're pulling them, the roots are already entangled, and it's just really tough to pull them. I actually had to broad fork them out. So, but I've got that planned all the way through December 17th, I think, of next year. So, this year. Yeah, sorry, this year. So we're using 10. Now, 10 is we can put in, it tells us our income off the garden, and we put in the price that we're selling each unit for, and I put tasks in there so I can actually delegate tasks to Lisa that, whatever needs to be done in the greenhouse, or so if I'm walking through the gardens, I can actually go in there, put in that the cucumbers need sprayed for cucumber beetle or something like that, or the celery needs calcium. So
well, you say that, and the one thing that we need to go back in there, because we can add like reminders for certain things on a reoccurring schedule.
Sure.
So once we figure out what days that we're going to be doing our weekly, like our weekly tasks and that, we need to add that in there so that, because it'll send you an alert, it'll send you a notification of what needs to be done for that day, and that way it's all lined out and we're not having to think about things whenever crazy season is truly here.
Yeah, and that's what Randy was just saying with the planning timing. He talked about in other news, and yeah, that's essentially what 10 does for us. Is we've pre-planned and pre-sold everything already. I mean, we know what we're taking to market, and I can put market orders together, so we know that when we're taking it to market, the market is orders already put together and everything. So and inventory can be put into there, whatever we have in inventory. So
yeah, Intend is if you want it to be, it's an all-in-one shop. Like, it has an online store to it that you can attach to a website. Gosh, what else? There's tax stuff in there.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, back in 2020, Hypocrite said he had a subscription to that. I'm guessing he's talking about 10. Maybe he's talking about the other one, but the 10 one, and it has changed. I think it has. They've made some updates, but it is a beast of a program. I mean, the software on that thing is just crazy. So it's a very high learning curve, is what I would call it.
Yes.
So,
and and it should be, because complexity of building out all the different things that need to happen in a garden over a whole year, no matter how big your garden is,
could be.
There's a lot of details that need to come into it. And so, I mean, we start on one crop and it's like, well, no, if I put this crop in here, then whenever I really want to put this other crop in here, then I can't do it. And so you can't just,
because
for the most part, put in all of one thing. You're kind of like working piece to piece to finally get your puzzle going.
Yeah, because we're letting, there may be days, 7 days maybe on some of these crops that we're pulling, we're harvesting, we are tarping, and we're planting within 7 days.
Yeah.
It's some of these, so it's a very fine tuned, and the more more we do it, the longer we go, the more we know the maturity dates and things like that, that we can really nail it in to where I can literally pull radishes and plant the next day because that's what Tind already has that planned in there. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
No, Hypocrite said that it was 10. Pricing the same, but
yeah, much more than I needed, and it
yeah.
is. I mean, you get full blown into market gardening, and it's still more. We haven't scratched surface on that subscription rate.
Yeah.
We use the crop planning, um, but that's really all we. I play around and I try to keep track um, of what the units we sell for, so I can see. Okay, well, you're gonna make $10,000 this year in your market garden, and that's there. But the deal is you need to be able to know what your harvest is. So what if you put in tomatoes and I'm going to guesstimate that I'm going to make 20 pounds off of a tomato plant and that spits that out. I need to know that that tomato plant actually made 20 pounds,
Yeah.
or at least that row of tomatoes averaged 20 pounds per tomato plant, or maybe it did 25. So then the next year I do know that I can go in there and say, we're averaging this. So
Right.
now we're going to bump up our figures. And I'm always on a figure guy. I'm always conservative. I'm always low balling my estimates of what I will make. So when I do make more, I'm really happy. But I'm always playing it safe when I'm talking about how much this product's going to make. So I'm always shooting high, but guessing low.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I remember you can even say not only what variety, but who you ordered from and reminders of qualities. It felt like it almost needed a full or halftime employee. It does.
It does because yeah, like I was saying, it's got that tech part in there. It's also got, now that you say that, it's got an expense sheet in there too, so you can put in all your expenses, and
Yep.
it basically gives you all your P&Ls for your gardens for the year.
Correct. I mean, it truly is a market manager or a farmer market, a manager of a farm's dream come true if that's all they did. Because they can delegate, they can do everything, they can make the whole plan.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the accounting can come into it. I mean, it is all there for that.
It is.
But
yes, you do need to have
somebody could do the whole thing all the
yes.
time.
Yes.
It
The
really
data
is.
input. Yeah.
Yeah. Gross net per row foot of crop. Yep.
Yep.
Unit of labor. We can put our I can put employees in there, what they're making per, what their tasks are, what that should have cost them, how long it should have taken them. I mean, it's a beast of a program. So
Yeah. Randy, it all depends on how much you want to use it. We, like Andrew said, we're only using the crop planning part of it. So the majority of our time in there actually messing with it is this time of year.
Yeah.
It's basically on autopilot except for a few changes throughout the year. If we didn't get a succession planted, then we, cancel out the greenhouse planting date, or we might add in a task or something here or there. But for the most part, once he gets done planning out the gardens, we just use it. We don't.
Today we do, and I mean, if it really was something that, if when we hire another employee, it's something that I was actually come home and stay at the farm again, it would be something that I would literally that would be my job, is just to do tend and farm managing and go back out and delegate from that, and then expect reports. And we do. We take some of our reports back from farmers market. We try to keep what we sell at farmers market. But that's great. But we're still not grasping the whole thing of, okay, well, bed 10 in garden 4 produced this many pounds of peas, and that's what I need to know, because that's still good information that I need, because that tells me what I need to be doing to that garden bed the next time, or even when I'm rotating the next crop in, because there's lots of our beds that are going to see 5, 6, 7 different crops in one given year, and so I need to know those balances, because again, that's why we field walks every day. I at least try to get through every garden every day, just so that I can spot lettuce. I mean, I can go through a lettuce and go, that one's stunted, that one's stunted, that one's stunted. There's something going on with this bed. and then I can go back on my tin, and I can at least see what was in that garden before the next two times, and say, oh, well, this one had celery before it had this. I guarantee you we're low on nutrients because it just sucked the nutrients right out of the ground, whatever it may be, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can connect it from in the garden, and that's where we do a lot of our tasks. And then it's a push button task of I'm done. That task is done, so it crosses it off, and it's off the. And then
Yes.
it notifies me that that task has been done.
Yes, it's not a the app that they have for it is a very light app.
Yeah.
It
And then there is an app for it. That's the thing.
There is an app for it in it's very it's a task driven app. So
Yeah.
it's a very light stack app. All of your other detailed stuff has to be done online.
Yeah.
And not from your phone either. It has to be done, not a mobile device. It has to be done from a PC.
Yeah, we can't do much crop planting. I can do a little crop planting and stuff off my phone.
Well, I mean, like even going to a web browser and trying to get into
Oh yeah,
Tin,
no, you can't do that.
it sees that you're a mobile device, even
Yeah.
if you tell it to go to desktop site, it won't let you do that. It has to be on a computer. Yeah. So, but yes, very happy with it, and
Well,
we're almost done planning.
Well,
You're almost done planning.
I'm getting close. Or, I've got several hours yet of planning.
Yes, you do.
Because
but
and again,
the
it's
big
because I'm
stuff is
detailed and I want to know. We always start with the high tunnels because we're already putting product in the high tunnels now, and we should have had product in the high tunnels already. And that's
It's just what it is.
it is what it is, and that's well, it's my fault, but we're learning, and uh, so that's the thing is I want to get the tunnels done because I will know what's going in every one of those beds from here till December, and I think the tunnels are done except for the cucumber beds. Um, no, I did get the cucumbers all done. So there's like cucumbers. We're planting cucumbers every 4 weeks and a new succession of cucumbers. So we're actually doing two varieties of cucumbers, just three varieties of cucumbers, two different slicing and one pickling cucumber. But I'm doing one variety every 8 weeks, so planting every 8 weeks on each variety. So it's a very boom, 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 and that all has to get organized. And it does help when we're out there because then it's oh well, I've got to get these out because the greenhouse is ready to go for the cucumbers, and the cucumbers are ready to go out because it only takes 15 days for them things to get off and ready to plant. So,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
so you tried something new that you've been wanting to try,
Yes. So
unless you've been doing it for a while. I just didn't know it.
middle of December.
Oh really? Yeah, I didn't know that. Anyways,
It's okay. All right. So I'm trying water glassing eggs. I don't know if anybody else has done that. And what that is lime watering unwashed eggs so that they keep. I mean, basically. Um, a friend of mine had said something about doing it last year, and I thought she was crazy. And we had a customer from Kansas come in, um, referred from another farmer that they were getting stuff from, and she was looking for unwashed eggs and came by and took a whole bunch of them. And I'm like, what are you doing? And so she had told me she's doing this water glassing thing, and I'm like, okay, I heard about it. What's the deal? Yada yada yada. I said, have you done this before? And she's like, well, yeah. I do this almost every year. And I'm like, she said, but I just have a hard time finding unwashed eggs. And I'm like, oh, okay. So she kind of gave me the confidence to move forward with it. And I'm like, oh, talking with Andrew, and there was still some crazy supplies going on around here, and I'm thinking, well, if we get to a point where the girls molt, or last year we got down to like 0 eggs in the middle of winter, and we didn't have any eggs for like 4 or 6 weeks. It was crazy.
which contrasts that to this year, and we haven't stopped production.
Yes, we did.
Well, except for
They
the molt
molted earlier.
when they molted.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I thought, well, I'll get ahead of that, and I'll go ahead and do some of this water glassing. And so we figured out how many eggs that we would have to need for like 3 months, and let's go ahead and do that. Let's put them away. So we got some 5-gallon buckets, and I got the hydrated lime from the ag store, which is the same as pickling lime. I did some research on what lime it actually is. You don't want ag lime. You want hydrated lime for food use. And
Hot coffee.
hot coffee. And so anyways, as soon as it was like the week later that I had gotten the 5-gallon buckets, like our eggs started decreasing. And I'm like, okay, now what's going on? And so what they did, they ended up molting really early, like in October, because we had a low in temperature and then it came back up just fine. But they caught that low and our day length shortened right about that time. And I hadn't been able to do it since. So the middle of December, we finally got our egg production was back up, and egg sales kind of slowed down, just a little bit. And I thought it was a perfect time to go ahead and try it. So I've got 2 5-gallon buckets of limed eggs.
You have 2 of them?
I've got 2 of them. I'm hidey holing stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But what I understand is that they can store for up to a year in
When you can start eating them.
I thought we'd give it a couple months,
You
and
might as well try.
absolutely. I'm not going to hold them for a full year and then have bad bad eggs. But what I learned through this whole process is chickens usually like super produce in the spring, and you have an overabundance of eggs. That is the better time to.
I don't know, our egg sales are already starting to pick up again. So
They are, but you do have that overabundance in the spring
yeah,
of laying, and that would be the better time to really stock up your storage eggs, your limed eggs, and then you're not worrying about any of it, you know. So, yeah,
Hypocrites
I'm
was just
excited.
saying about thinking outside the box. Wonder if somebody could was good with the app could make a side hustle full time job. And I have zero doubts. I mean, somebody could give them the crop or what vegetables they were wanting to do that year, what bed space they had, and some details, and a crop plan could be made easily done that.
Well, heck, if you had a spreadsheet on Drive that you were, if you had a spreadsheet on Drive that you inputted your data harvest into and your sales,
Yeah.
that person had shared to it, they could go back in and do your data input for you. It could be an offsite person. It doesn't even have to be.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
It doesn't even have to be a farmer. I mean, you just have to.
No.
You just have to show them where to put the data at.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, just an input person. No, I'm too much of a control freak for that. So.
No, but that's a very good idea for a side hustle.
Oh, for a side hustle, yes, yes, I could, and I could
Especially
I'd
those
do that.
I mean, those that understand gardening or vegetables,
Sure.
That have home gardens. That would be a great supplemental income.
Yeah.
For
Well, I
somebody.
mean, talk about supplemental income. I've been looking at with the soil samples and all that stuff, and having somebody read your soil samples. I mean, I should go back and get my some more classes because man, some of those guys are charging $200-300 an hour to consult
consulting?
just for your back to your
Back to Eden?
no, just back to getting
Oh.
your soils.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not not doing much, just reading your soil samples, and then if you have questions and consulting in just the question factor of doing the stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah, and I mean it's definitely worth it in some aspects depending on your scale.
Oh no, I'm not pickling eggs. Oh,
Now, I like pickled eggs. Pickling eggs definitely. Indiana Mike said pickling eggs were definitely a great discovery to make a killer egg salad sandwich.
they
Yeah,
scare me. I don't know that I'd try them.
what pickling them, or you just don't like you haven't
I
tried pickled eggs?
I haven't tried pickled eggs.
Oh, I like pickled eggs.
Ye- Okay.
I like egg salad too.
Well, I do too.
I like egg salad and tuna salad together.
And yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Yes, it
exactly.
does.
Add nitrogen. I mean,
And I've got some soil samples back that I didn't add very much nitrogen to some of that stuff. I'll have to pull those out and see again. But yeah, I mean, typically there's always add nitrogen. You're always short nitrogen. So, and the problem is just like
mm,
nitrogen is very volatile. So, depending on what kind of nitrogen you're putting on, depends on a lot of stuff. I mean,
yes.
it either leaches or it becomes volatile and escapes in the atmosphere. When nitrogen you can get really
Or
for free.
or it totally blows your plants up and doesn't give you any fruit.
Well, that's true. I mean, if you that too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with nitrogen is easy to get. It's I say free. If you're buying seed for it, it's not free, but so
Hmm.
smoked or bread and butter. Now, see, bread and butter pickled eggs, not cool. I'm not a bread and butter pickle guy at all. I like dill, but I can't do bread and butter.
Although
Smoked eggs, I've yet to try that on my smoker, and I've never tried smoked eggs, but I know a lot of people that have said that they'll never hard boil eggs ever again.
yes, I have heard that they just will smoke them. There's yeah, and the Amish have tons of different flavored pickled eggs up here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tons of
I
different
mean
flavors.
they all come up from Ohio, but
Down.
up. Ohio's up.
They all come up from Ohio.
Well, I guess they come down from Ohio. Okay, yes, you're right. Ohio is up, so they come down.
Yes.
We
Yes. Yes.
were saying the same thing.
Yes.
So, they taste like a marinated hard-boiled egg. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like I like pickled eggs. Just they need to be dill pickled eggs,
Well, and
or
maybe
hot. I like hot pickled eggs too. I'm not sure what they put in that, but
so. Is it? Are they pickled in vinegar like pickles are? Like you take a hard boiled egg and you
yeah, just put them in pickle juice.
pickle juice.
Sure, that pickles them.
Okay.
That's in fact that's what I used to do when I didn't do that kind of stuff. I was lazy. I'd buy a jar of pickles and then put eggs in them afterwards.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can kind of do that, but so I
Yeah.
mean that wouldn't be any different than egg salad because you do put pickles in pickled juice ish.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to put.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe one day I'll try that. I don't know. So
So what is you read that from Tag and B?
Bee can eat some dirt, spin around twice, and then clap her hands, and she gets the solid right every time.
So,
It is a little bit of a science
Yeah.
as to if you get the yolk done or underdone.
I can't. I don't know.
There's a science to it.
I just eat them.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a timing thing.
have you tried? Have you tried? Was it in a glass jar? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you tried?
We haven't tried it yet.
We haven't tried it yet because I'm just now remembering this. They take hard boiled egg and they drop it in a glass and then they just shake it
Mhm.
think it was a glass, wasn't it?
Uh-huh. A glass jar.
And then you take it out, and it just peels right off. There's no flexing or peeling, or it just goes like that. I, I think it's too. If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
It works for garlic.
Really?
Yeah, it does
Well,
work for
yeah,
garlic.
your garlic smasher thing.
Yeah, I do have that too. But if you want to do a lot of garlic at one time and you put um, garlic, fill like a jar, like not 3/4, but like a third of the way, and put the lid on it and just kind of shake it up and everything, it'll peel all your clothes for you and not have to do. So,
Yep. Yeah. Hypocrite's Garden says volatile and profitable,
well, yes,
at least for the
because
chemical company.
they have
Talk
to
about
make
nitrogen again.
a profit
Yeah.
on
Well, it's
everything
it's
and
like
not worry about people's health.
anhydrous. I mean, sounds just so good. Something that you can die from, and obviously you're killing everything else. So
Yes, because that doesn't matter.
yeah.
The bugs in the ground don't matter.
Yeah.
But
So what else you got? I love eggs anyway. I do too. Um, like except for bread and butter, pickled eggs. I don't think I any other egg that I don't like.
not raw.
Oh, so now I can do raw eggs too. I used to do that
Not
quite a bit,
raw.
but
No, they can't be slimy.
yeah, any kind of slime. But I have no problem with it. Over easy. Now the one thing I've never tried yet is the sunny side. Is it sunny side eggs Benedict or whatever you call
Oh,
it?
now those are pretty good.
They're just slimy. It's a fully slimy egg on top.
No, it's not.
The sunny side up. You only cook one side of it.
The whites are done.
I thought you only cooked
Yes,
one side
but
of it.
you
Oh, you
pour,
splatter.
yeah, you splatter the oil over the top so it cooks the egg. Or you
Okay.
could what's it called? Like a steamed egg.
Oh, poached.
Poached.
Yeah.
Poached is good too. Because everything is still cooked.
I don't know. I've never had a poached egg. I don't think so.
My grandma used to eat them like that all the time.
I eat eggs. I like eggs.
All the time.
Lots of eggs. So. There's a whole world of study in soils and soil fertility you can study for a lifetime and still not know what you're doing. So.
Well, I think there's still a lot of things that are being discovered. I mean,
Oh yeah.
You look at mycorrhizae and the how far apart, if they know that something's going on the other side of the field, that they're like, I'm coming, dude.
And what she's talking about is they've done studies to where mycorrhizal fungi, which is essentially spider webs and the fungi that attach each, and it's networking essentially. Think of networking cables, but they've done studies where they've released a pest on a 100-acre field or 50-acre field, doesn't really matter, but on one side of it and on the very opposite corner, they've measured plant pheromones coming out of those plants for beneficial insects to come and detract from that pest that they released in it. So, I mean, obviously, we're still learning a lot. I mean, just knowing what we're knowing now on soils and how we can manipulate, but I use manipulation in a good sense for that. So, not raw.
Yes.
It's an acquired taste.
No, it's not. There's no taste to it. It's
No,
just
there's no taste.
slime.
There's no taste. It's an acquired texture.
Yeah. No. No, the mycorrhizal and that kind of reminds me, it's kind of a strange analogy, but it kind of reminds me of Avatar.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And how the whole underground world, I don't know how all the roots talk to each other and all the biologicals talk to each other underneath it. That's just what it reminds. It gives a good visual of what may be going on underneath the ground.
Well, I mean, you think of it as a community because that's what it is a community. But everything revolves around everything else. You can't have one and not have another because if you get rid of one thing, something else starves because it doesn't have something to eat. the mycorrhizal fungi are talking to each other, and they're telling what roots exudate, and the exudates tell the you know it's a bartering system for plants because the plant is releasing exudates and attracting insects. That insects say, I got that, but I need some of that. So
True.
they're doing that all the time, and that's how you're doing that. Finding the mother tree.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean that's how it works all the time.
So they have to be yoked up.
They have to be yoked up. Yeah, soil organism microbes. What's interesting is for every and this is there again, where it's all a guess in my humble opinion. But every time you take a step on the ground, you are literally stepping on hundreds of thousands of pounds of life for every footstep.
I would think so.
But you think about that, there is 10 times more life under that soil than there is above the soil,
Well,
including
yeah.
every animal, every human, even by weight.
Well, think of everything that has to go on.
I know.
I mean, it's all connected. It's all connected.
Absolutely. When we're talking about soil, it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there are things that we can't even see through a microscope that's going on in the soil. I mean, like, they're just that small.
Yeah.
And we will never have the capacity, knowledge to truly understand what's going on.
No, I mean, we're
I
still.
mean, that's way above our humanness.
Says Hypocrite's Guard says, yes, seriously, read or listen to that book. Riveting, inspirational, and more. Are we referring back to that same book, The Art of Balancing Soil and Nutrients, Hypocrite, I'm guessing? So, oh yeah, that's definitely, it is on order for that book for sure. So, if that's one you're still talking about too.
We'll
I
put
had
that in
some
the arsenal.
I had some really good books in here too on soil. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but trees that not only feed their offspring but could tell which tree was its own offspring versus other species. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So well, I mean, and we know that trees of like species root systems will actually connect and share
Yes.
nutrients as well. So, oh, finding the mother tree. Okay,
Oh. Okay.
I'll add that one too. Write
Yeah.
that one down.
We'll do that one too.
Can you remember that one, or do you need to write it down?
Finding the mother tree is just like Avatar, right?
So, yeah. No. But will we remember it? No, we will not remember it. So, what else did you have on your list? Anything else?
Well, nothing truly exciting. A house update, but
Okay, before we get to the house update, because we're talking about Avatar, we're talking about all this connectedness. They had somebody, and I don't know who had the TV on, because this TV, we have a TV that sits above us here that never hardly comes on. But somebody was watching, probably it was Discovery or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it was going over, I don't know which ancient civilization it was. It was connected to Egypt and connected to all this other stuff. But it was just the thought all over came again because the guy he was a geologist and a archaeologist and whatever else he was. But he was measuring some of these stones, and the pyramids are no different, I guess. But some of the stones that we're probably gonna freeze out and skip out and do all kinds of stuff. It's picking up rain again. But they were measuring the face of stones that were 3 microns straight.
what does that mean?
So the surface of the stone was 3 microns of difference when they straight. A micron is like, I'm gonna screw this up. A micron is like 100 is equivalent. It takes 100 microns to make a centimeter. So A micron is
A
microscopic.
Okay.
So essentially, and he put a link on there. So, but the surface was so flat, that flat. How is it possible with a chisel? Well, thinking that it's been made thousands of years ago, because it was, according to every test. We obviously we have no records of that except for the hieroglyphics and all this other stuff. But how is it possible to do that? And then on top of that, there were stones that were exactly the same measurement to the T, exactly within millimeters. And it was a millimeter. A micron is like 100. 100 microns is like 1 millimeter or something. It's tiny, anyways. But they were the exact same measurements, so and same patterns that they all fit and they keyed together. It was like a stamp was made, and that these rocks were made out of the stamp. But obviously, these are 10-ton rocks, that. So it just to think about that and think that we are a highly intelligent, but yet we can't figure out how they would have done this. Tells you how smart we really are. It's again, I just go back to a lot of this stuff, and when I keep coming back on some of the stuff, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
And we're just rediscovering stuff that's already been done, stuff that's been lost, and we're going, we got a brilliant idea. No, that was thought of thousands of years ago, or hundreds of years ago, whatever it may be.
It's because the internet's our brain now.
Well, that's true. I don't have to think.
I don't have to think.
Well, you had a house update, so I squirreled there, which I'm good at. But
well, that's fine. But so I did have a thing on here though that our vacation is over tomorrow. Today is our last day of vacation. I call vacation because
interesting. It can happen to anybody. She was showing one of her friends that just said, I guess they're watching a football game.
They're watching the Bills and Bengals.
Bills and Bengals, and one of the Bills players had a heart attack, actually on the field.
After the tackle.
He got tackled, had a heart attack, and they actually were doing CPR on the field.
Yeah. So, and then rushed him to the hospital.
It can happen to anybody and stuff like that, but you never know when it's your day. But
that's true.
Prayers for his family.
Yes.
So, the Egyptians used 3, 4, 5 to build the pyramids. There's
3, 4, 5. There
is no doubt that I don't know how many people would actually have gone out and looked at Fibonacci. I deal with, or I use charts from financial sector, and I look at charts and look at Fibonacci retracements and Fibonacci numbers, and I use Fibonacci on graphs and stuff like that. But the Fibonacci sequence is, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, was used by the Egyptians, and that they knew it before it was even the Fibonacci sequence. And they used a measurement called cubits, and the royal cubit, and there's that. It all deals back to what the meter would have been, but the meter wasn't yet made. So it's very, very interesting, and the Fibonacci can be there again found in nature, the way conchs are made on the ocean, and the sunflower, and the Fibonacci numbers and the sequences are all found in that. So, hey, 3, 4, 5 method to build the pyramids was probably no doubt that make them square, and I used it today on squaring up my framing for my concrete. So, 3, 4, 5 is a tried and true method. Hypocrite said, "Dude, some are men who can literally talk to women in real time and still can't figure them out." That is no doubt. Complicated creatures. Hey, I'm simple. Only 3 things we need.
You were just talking about Fibonacci. Simple?
I'm simple. Maybe my brain's not simple. You wouldn't be simple in your brain either if you had to listen to all these voices all the time.
Oh my goodness. When you do a lot of talking all day long and you never say a word. That's all I gotta say. Anyway.
I don't do a lot of talking.
You don't say a word.
They do.
Oh my goodness.
House
No,
update.
well, vacation is over today.
What's today? Was your last day of vacation?
Today's last day of vacation. Tomorrow starts back to
Are you gonna
normalcy.
join Tag and B one day and live vacation
Yeah, I am.
sooner than later?
I hope so.
I have plans, but mine's not sooner. It's gonna be later.
I know.
Not gonna retire from where I'm at, but gotta
Yep.
make some headways in other ways. So
Yep.
anyway,
So back to reality tomorrow.
for a little while.
For a little while, yes, but back to reality tomorrow, and then kids go back to school. School starts up at the end of the week, so got to get back in the swing of things. So vacation is over, which is always fun being home and doing farm stuff. But
You
house
mean actually
update,
getting stuff accomplished?
yes, like house update. Like we have actually been all under one roof for almost 2 weeks now.
For the first time in what, 3 years?
First time in 3 years.
Yeah.
2
2 years. Yeah,
2
we'll say
years.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And
We are not supposed to understand Tag. We are not supposed to understand.
you are. You're supposed to be able to read our minds.
I know that's
And
what we're supposed to.
facial expressions and,
Yeah.
behaviors,
Got it.
nod and trust.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Wake up tired, go to bed retired. Because we're always thinking. Anyways. So vacation was good. We got a lot of stuff done. It's good that you were home today, federal holiday,
Yep.
and yesterday, because we were able to get a lot of stuff done on the greenhouse and been able to work on the house a little bit more and trudging along. So that's good. I need to make up my mind. We need to make up our minds on wall stuff like this one back here.
I don't need to make up no mind. I just gotta do when you tell me what you want.
Okay, I gotta make up my mind what I want and then go for it. But besides that, pretty happy with progress we made on the house in the short time that we did. And it'll just be here and there. Getting it finished up.
Yeah. Kids are working
So-
on their room, so they've got wood. Most of everything we're putting up is wood. So I mean,
Oh, well, Ella and I, she was making fun of me because we were down at the wood pile. So, husband here gave daughter a trait of hoarding
of
wood,
love.
no matter what it is. And we tore down a a small engine. It was Grandpa Mark's small engine repair shed,
At
right?
one time, it was a well house, I think. But yeah.
And it was like
It was an old shed.
a 10 by 12.
Oh no. It was only like 5 foot wide or 6 foot wide. It was like a 10 by 6.
Yeah, shed that we had taken the wood panels off of.
He is laughing, nod and trust. Burlap on the wall. Now that's one I haven't thought about.
Ooh.
I can do burlap on the wall. We're gonna this wall back here. We put drywall up because it was cheap and for a backer. Believe it or not, went to get more drywall because we weren't going to finish any of the drywall. I'm not going to tape and mud this drywall. At least I hadn't planned on it. We were going to paint it and then put wood on it so that I didn't care if the wood was going to be wet or not. So if it separated, all you'd see is black. But we went to Lowe's, like she was saying earlier last night, because I needed some more wall covering. Plywood, OSB, now it's the 7/16, was cheaper than drywall. So guess what we bought? We bought OSB to put on the walls in the mudroom and in the new kitchen where the countertops are going to go. Because we're stacking wood actually up against the walls underneath the countertops. So I don't have to worry about marred drywall or chipping paint or any of that stuff because it's plywood.
Yeah.
So $10 and like 30 cents a sheet of 7/16 OSB plywood.
Yeah. So So actually, that's going to work out better in the mudroom, anyways,
Oh, yeah.
because it's where you throw all your junk off at, right? So
Yeah. So
That's not-
Randy must have missed the mind reading class.
oh,
I think I skipped it. I don't know that I missed it. I just skipped it. I said that sounded exhausting.
that's funny.
So,
No,
but
so
working on that. I got a bunch more wood split.
yeah, with the rain coming in, we loaded up on wood again, so it wasn't going to be all wet. And
Wet and soggy wood is no fun.
no, it's not. It doesn't burn very well. Although I did have a very nice fire going that has cooled down.
No, it has not. It's sweating over here.
Not quite 80 yet.
It's right at 80.
But no, I really don't. Besides that, I think I've done talked myself out.
You talk stuff out? Well, your mind's going to the gutter, so it may be a good time.
And now we're going to get all loopy. So
I don't know that I have anything else right now. I've got another video ready to go out tomorrow. So said Hippocrates Garden said I tried mind reading. Too much small print. So he's unmarried and wonder why.
just not the right gal.
But I got another video. I've got some more editing to do. I've got 3 more videos I think I need to get out now. I've got one to go out for your. I don't know what it was.
Hay wagon.
I don't think it's the hay. I don't think I've got it done yet. You did another video, so I did one on the drum chamber. I was supposed to have one out this morning, but that didn't happen either. I didn't schedule it, so. But here we are doing this, so it's okay. But yeah, no, got the wood. So I don't know. I think that's it.
I think so.
So again, we're gonna do this on Monday.
Yep.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
I remembered it's 6 o'clock, so I didn't get this scheduled early enough, but I got it scheduled earlier.
Well, I put it out on, as you were doing that, I put it out on pre-setting.
Okay.
And I put it out on our Facebook.
Yeah. So if you're in here and you don't have aren't on pre-setting, go check out pre-settings because there's a wealth of information over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. It's
Okay.
gonna be soggy tomorrow. If I get stuck on the hill, I'll make a video of it.
Why not? Right?
Why not?
So, well, we are
All
going
right.
to jump on to Tind, and I think that's the other thing that we haven't decided. We haven't decided, but we have decided. I've decided. She's going to do it, but I've decided that we haven't been happy with the program, I'll say, that we run our website through for our farm store.
It's
that-
not
is
the
that right?
total. No.
I
It's
don't know.
not totally the right fit.
It is not, and I'm not sure the one we're going to do is totally right fit, but it is going to make
It
our
appears,
job easier, possibly, and allow us to expand.
Well, we can talk about that more next week then.
Yeah, we can. But we're going to go ahead and get the free trial of that and start working on that because she says she can do a complete rehaul and swap it all over in a couple of days, have it ready to go live. So sounds like we are going to be changing our hosting area for our
Online
farm store,
and
online
website.
store and website. So, Randy, you have a good night as well. Hope we all have a good year.
You
Hope so
too.
too. But yeah, we're gonna jump off here, and we'll talk about more about that later. So until next time,
Pull up a chair.
and welcome to Tabletop Farms. Good night, everybody.